Alright, this is my 60-gallon tank, housing an Oscar at the moment. It's about probably, maybe about 3.5 inches long. Got him when he was barely an inch long and had no red on him whatsoever. It was real cool, just silver and black, and I was hoping he'd stay mostly that colour, but as you can see he's coloured up a bit, which is alright. She has a tank with 3 pictus, they're a bit hard to see. And there's a bristlenose in there somewhere too. Don't know where he's hiding. And then a driftwood catfish down the back there. Trachelliopteris fishery. So that driftwood will get to about 10 inches. And there's the other pictus. And I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect that the pictus that I have are the larger Colombian variety. It'd be pretty cool if they were. I mean, the whole reason I got them was because in body shape they strongly resemble the salmon-tail or fork-tail catfish of northern Australia, which I've had in tanks before, and I used to go fishing for them. The biggest one I caught was around 1.3 metres, so fair size. So it'd be cool if they did get a bit of size on them. Running a canister filter, a BioPro canister filter, so it's one of the cheaper canister filters, but it seems to do the job. I've got an Eheim Jaeger heater in there. What's the wattage on that heater? 200 watt heater. A little power head down there, a little bit of filter floss in there, that just to help clear the water up a bit, you know, if there's a bit of free floating stuff in the water, and just turn that on, and a bit of fine filtering through there. Got a little sponge filter in the back there, and the Oscar is still hanging around. In the last couple of days I've started feeding him some live yabbies. Little crayfish, freshwater crayfish. As I had a couple and they ended up breeding, so I've got about 80 to 100 baby ones at the moment, which are all about an inch long. So I've fed 3 to him so far and he loves them. But I won't feed too many because crustaceans with their shells and that, they tend to block up fish like Oscars. I've found if you feed them too many, blocks up their digestive system. And that plant on that wood there, I've had that for probably 5-6 years, if not more, and it's tripled in size, that plant. And the driftwood's slowly gotten a bit smaller, the driftwood that it's attached to. As you can see, I do prefer bare bottom tanks. Look, don't get me wrong, I love the look of, you know, gravel or sand in the bottom of tanks, but this is just so much easier to keep clean, especially with a large bioload on the tank like this. I mean, because all the fish at the moment are fairly small. The biggest one would be that driftwood catfish down there. He's about 6 inches, but it's still a fairly large bioload on the tank. And soon, in the next probably 3-4 months maybe, I will be upgrading to at least a 90-gallon tank. At least a 90-gallon. And I might go through and build my own sump for that, you know, just a 20 or 29-gallon sump, which would be cool. Be a cool project to do. Add a bit of extra filtration in there, fluidized filter. And as you see, the Oscar, he never stops moving. He never stops moving. And I haven't fed him yet this morning, so he is pretty hungry. Due to the fact that it does have a large bioload on it, I do try and keep the tank as clean as possible. Usually every couple of days I'll go through and vacuum out any muck that's down in the bottom. I did that only last night, and you can see there's already a fair bit come back. That's what I was talking about, the large bioload on the tank, which you can see a large amount of that is from a pleco, which is the bristlenose, which is a female one, and only about 2.5-3 inches, but I don't know where it is, but geez, it creates a lot of mess. But yeah, and then every 3 days or so I'd give it, I do a water change roughly down to about where the intake of the canister filter is, so that'd be about probably 70% of the water, 60-70% water change. and then every few weeks, every month and a half, I go through and clean out the canister filter, rinse out all the media and that in there, and then after that the tank goes a little bit cloudy for about half a day and then it clears up again. So mainly feed my fish the hikari food. I found in terms of quality and pricing, the hikari food's pretty hard to beat, really. I've been feeding my fish almost exclusively on hikari for probably 3 years now, and I find on it they grow really quick, they have good colours, they're healthy, they're active, you know, generally seems to be really good food. And yeah, that's about it. Well, I'll probably do another update once I get the bigger tank, but for now that about covers it, I'd say. It is the second Oscar I've had. I did have a Lutino red Oscar. It does annoy me that most people tend to call them albinos when they're not true albinos. Some of them are true albinos, but ones that like mine, he had a fair bit of black edging around his fins and a bit of black smudging around his fins. He was a Lutino, and yeah, he got up to be around probably another inch or inch and a half bigger than this guy before I had to sell him because we moved house. So, and at the same time I had a red devil as well, which actually surprisingly grew a lot faster than the Oscar that I had at the time. It was double the Oscar's size. It was probably around 6-7 inches when it unfortunately died. Not sure why, just one day it was just lying in the bottom of the tank, just barely breathing at all, wasn't moving. So yeah, I think I had the tank outside, living in the tropics, so it was fairly warm. I had no heater in the tank and it was outside, so I think it might have been a sudden cold snap or something that must have done it, unfortunately. Yeah, that's about it.